Hello everyone, this is Jordan. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how the mRNA COVID vaccine affect the menstrual cycle's length. So in today's video, I'm going to cover 3 scientific articles published in peer-reviewed journal, and I will pop the link in the description. If you are interested, please do check. So the first article that we're going to talk about is the one published by the Atlanta in US, and it's just to investigate the association between menstrual cycles length and the COVID disease 2019 vaccination. So the purpose of this research, as we have already seen here, that is about to investigate how the COVID mRNA vaccines affected the menstrual length. So in the master sections, around 4,000 participants were recruited, and they received Moderna, Johnson's, or Pfizer's vaccine. 3 of them are typical of the mRNA vaccines on the market. So those cohorts was divided into 2 groups. One is unvaccinated group, another is the vaccinated group. In unvaccinated groups, 4 phases of 4 cycles, 4 menstrual cycles were followed. So this is sort of the cohort perspective studies. Whereas in the vaccinated groups, it's the first 3 consecutive menstrual cycles were labeled as the pre-vaccinated cycle, and from 4 to 6 menstrual cycles is the first or second dose vaccinated dose cycles, and through comparing the first 3 cycle, which is a pre-vaccinated cycle, and the 4th to 6th vaccinated cycles, the scientists found that after vaccination, the participants were on average possessed a 1-day delay of menstrual cycles, and the menses length, which is the period that lasts usually around 5 days, stayed unchanged, which means p-value is smaller than 0.05. So we can see that the mRNA vaccine did affect the women's menstrual cycle length, and we'll think about what is the potential mechanism that contribute to it, and then we need to back to how the whole process proceeds. So the menstruations is initiated by the hypothalamus, and hypothalamus would transmit the neural signal to the pituitary gland, and pituitary gland will release the other hormones that affect the ovulation in a way to affect the menstrual cycles. And another thing that I want to emphasize is that after vaccination, our bodies, in response to it, our body would produce the massive amount of cytokines, and cytokines would potentially affect the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which in a way to affect the follicular phase of the ovulations. But in normal circumstances I'm talking about, the cytokines are unable to directly affect the hypothalamus because of the brain-blood barriers, which functions to protect the brains and other organs or structures within the brains from the toxins and the other unnecessary ions, which means potentially the blood barrier, or we'll call it the endothelium, functions had already been altered. So this is the third article that I'm covering, and His article's name is called "The SARS-CoV spike protein alters the barrier functions in 2D static and 3 microfluidic in vitro models for human brain-blood barrier." This is a vitro model, which means the tissue of the human bodies get rid of the human body and cultivate it in the experiment, in the lab for the experimentation. And the results say that the evidence provided suggests that the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein triggers a pro-inflammatory response on brain endothelium cells that may contribute to alter the state of brain barrier functions, which explains why the cytokines production triggered by the mRNA vaccines that would cause the elongation of the menstrual cycle. So that's it. So this is sort of a short-term effect of mRNA vaccine, and there are still a lot of issues that still haven't been addressed. And in the future, we are supposed to look at how the long-term effect of the mRNA COVID vaccines in the future. Okay, hope this video is inspiring for you, and I will see you next time.